Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Sums Made Easy, and in today's lesson I'll be showing you how to solve algebraic equations. So, the main steps in solving algebraic equations are: number one, we tidy up the equation. So basically we expand any brackets or divide out any fractions, so that makes it a bit easier to work with. And step number two, we arrange all the unknown and known values. Normally your unknown values in an equation are what you're solving for. So if I were to say to you, solve for x or solve for y, that's your unknown that you're solving for. And your known values are your numbers and everything else, even those two. So once we've done that, we go into step number three, where we simplify both sides of the equation. And that's basically moving on to the step where we want both of our sides of the equation to be nice and easy, or nice and simple, or preferably we want the left-hand side of the equation to be nice and simple, so that it's easy to solve, because that's what we want to solve, our unknown. And once we've done that, we divide the left-hand side and the right-hand side by the coefficient of the unknown. And the coefficient, I'll show you what it is in a second, but it's basically the final step in solving our equation. Right? In short, we basically want our unknown x, right? So x is our unknown there, to equal some value. So that's the basic rule you need to remember, right? You need to remember that our value x needs to equal something. And that's the whole objective about solving an equation. You need to get the unknown in this form here. Alright? And I'll be showing you some examples in doing that. So, solve this equation where we've got, let's solve an equation for x where we've got brackets on this side and brackets on that side. So, to solve this we apply the first step. Right, so we expand the brackets on either or both sides. In this case we've got the brackets on both sides, so we'll focus both sides of it, of expanding on both sides. So in doing that, when you expand brackets on both sides, when you expand brackets in general, should I say, basically the number outside of the bracket you multiply inside. So in this case we get 6x by multiplying 2 and 3x. So 2 times 3x gives us 6x. We get 14 by multiplying 2 and 7. Right, so 2 times 7 gives us 14, and 2 times 3x gives us 6x. And when you expand it out, you should get that value there. And that's the left-hand side done. And if you're not sure which is the left-hand, which is the right-hand side, it's basically this. So left-hand side is that side of the equation, right-hand side is this side of the equation there. And I refer to LHS and RHS so that I'm telling you what side I'm talking about. So moving on to the right hand side of the equation here, if you look closely, there's a negative there. Right? That negative is actually a -1. So it's the same as multiplying, or you're multiplying -1 by 3x there, which gives us negative x. You're multiplying -1, oops, I did line this, so -1 multiplied by x is -x, and -1 multiplied by -1 is +1. So that's that step done. Moving on, we arrange the unknown values to the left hand side and the known values to the right hand side. So keep in mind that x is equal to our unknown, okay? And our known values are the numbers and everything else. So in doing that, right, when you rearrange this, you should get something like this here. And what I've done is, since we want x equal to some value, as I mentioned before, we need to get the unknowns on this side, or basically you want to get the x's on this side here, okay? And what you do is, you look at the left hand side of this equation, right? You see that you just go for each term one at a time. So you start with 6x, right? And you think, okay, yep, 6x is on the left hand side, so that stays there. Then we've got 14, and 14 doesn't belong there, so I need to bring it to the right hand side, right? So to do that, what I do is I minus 14 on this side, right? So what you do on one side, you do to the other, right? And then I minus 14 on that side. And when I do that, plus 14 minus 14 gives me 0, and I'm left with I'm left with 6x, right? On this side, you're left with negative 14, so we'll just leave that for the moment. So moving on to the other side, just erase that. Moving on to the other side, we've got a number 6, right, which is correct, so that belongs there. It's on the right hand side. We've got a negative x, right, so the negative x needs to go on the left hand side, so I bring it over to that side there. And basically what I'm doing is, again, what I do to one side, I do to the other side. So basically I go plus x on this side, and plus x on that side, plus x on that side. And that gives me 6, that leaves me with 6x plus x there. Okay, and on this side here, minus x plus x is equal to 0, so I'm just left with the rest of the other numbers as shown there. So our values, our unknowns and known values are all separated, and now we're ready to go on to the next step of solving our equation. So moving on, once we've got both of our sides sorted, we can simplify both sides of the equation, right? So that means the like terms can be added to one value and the numbers can be added to another value. So 6x plus x gives us 7x. 1 minus 14 plus 6 gives us 7. Okay, so that's that. Now onto the fourth step. Divide the left hand side and the right hand side by the coefficient of the unknown value. Now the coefficient is basically the value next to our unknown. In this case 7x, right? If you look at that, x is our unknown. X is our unknown, and 7 is our coefficient. And the coefficient is an algebraic term to describe a number or letter next to an unknown value, or algebraic term, which is x in this case. So that's what a coefficient is. And what you do is, when we divide that, we do this. So 7, we divide the left hand side by the coefficient, so 7x divided by 7, right, that's the left hand side, and we go 7 divided by 7 on the right hand side, right, let's label it LHS and RHS there. Moving on, 7's cancel, so 7 divided by 7 cancel out, so it gives us 1, and 7 divided by 7, or actually gives us 1, not 7, so that's actually wrong. Therefore we've solved our equation, and it should be 1 there. We put a line under it saying that x is equal to 1. That's our answer. So now, how about if we get a fraction? Okay, well, don't be alarmed. We apply the same steps again. Okay, when you have a fraction, when you have fractions in your equations, when you simplify them down, they become brackets. You do need to expand, multiply. And here's what we do. So the first step, expand the brackets on either or both sides. Okay, we can't really do that because we've got fractions, and we need to get rid of the fractions first. Right? And the best way to do that is, you think of a number that divides into 5, 3, and 6. In this case, 30. Okay, so 30 and 5 divide very well. 30 and 3 divide very well. And 30 and 6 divide well as well. So we're going to use that number to get rid of these denominators here, because we don't want them. Right? It makes life a bit difficult. And in doing that, so what I'm doing here is I'm getting the numbers, the fractions together. I'm getting the fractions together. So basically, the 30 and the 5, they go here. The 30 and the 3, they go here. And finally, the 30 and the 5, they stay on the top, and the 6 goes on the bottom there. So if you look at it carefully, it's starting to look more like what we've started with in the other example. So simplifying this out, 30 divided by 5 is 6. 30 divided by 3 is 10, and 30 times 5, when I divide by 6, gives us 25. So now we've got the form where we can start solving for our value, our unknown value of y. In this case, y is our unknown. Okay, so now we can start solving it. And to do that, we apply the remaining 2 to 4, or the remaining steps 2 to 4. And in doing that, we get our answer of y is equal to 39 on 16. This example here that I'm showing you is basically showing you how to get rid of the denominators in fractions, right? So that you go from this to this here, and you can apply the steps that I've taught you. And going through the remaining parts here, right? So you get, when we expand out, we get 6y there. Oops, and we got 6 when multiplying those. When we multiply these out, we get 10y minus 20. 25 stays where it is. 6y and 10y, they stay on the left hand side. What else is there? Okay, 6 and negative 20 give us 14. So we need to get rid of the 14 that goes on the right hand side here. So you plus 14 on the left hand side and plus 14 on the right hand side, right? And doing that, simplifying both sides, 6 plus 10y, 6y plus 10y is 16y, 25 plus 14 is 39, and simplifying we get that value there. There's our solution. And okay, so now how do we check our answer in an exam or an assignment? Well, you substitute your value found back into the original equation. And if the left-hand side equals the right-hand side, your solution is correct. Okay, so let's give that a go. So we started off with our equation there, and we found that it was that value there, y is equal to that. Substituting it in, basically I put that value into here, and we get this there. And at this point, right, we want to focus. We want to focus on the left-hand side. Okay, and by that I mean you substitute it in and you just look at this side here, and then you simplify it further. So when we simplify the top, we get 11 over 5. Sorry, you get 11. Right. 1 second. When we simplify this term, we get 11 over 16, and when we simplify this term, we get 7 over 48. When you add these values together, you get 5 over 6, right? And therefore, the left-hand side equals the right-hand side, so our answer is correct. So that's how you solve equations. If you have any questions or queries, please let me know, and thank you for watching. See ya.